G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to name my unborn daughter after my husband's high school girlfriend? So my husband, 35, and I, 31, are about to be first-time parents as I'm currently 35 weeks pregnant. We found out it was a girl, and my husband suggested the name Tiffany. I immediately fell in love with the name. I asked him where he got it from, and he told me that he heard it while watching a movie, and it stuck with him. I didn't think much of it. We decided that we both loved the name, and that it was going to be our little girl's name. However, a few days ago, my sister-in-law and I were talking on FaceTime, and we got onto the topic of the name. She mentioned how surprised she was that I agreed to that name because she'd never want to name a child after her husband's high school girlfriend. I was really confused at first and asked her what the heck she meant. She told me that my husband dated a girl named Tiffany from 10th grade until they were juniors in college. While I knew my husband had a long relationship in high school and college, I never knew the girl's name. My sister-in-law could tell how upset I was and assumed that my husband told me where he got the name from. I told her that he told me that he heard it from a movie and he never mentioned that it was his ex-girlfriend's name. She apologized and told me that she didn't mean to upset me. I wasn't upset with her though. I was and still am so angry at my husband. After hanging up, I confronted my husband and asked him if what his sister said is true. He tried to blow it off at first, but eventually admitted that it is true. We argued back and forth for a while before I told him that I would not name my daughter after his ex-girlfriend, and I refused to use the name Tiffany anymore. He tried to convince me that it wasn't a big deal, but it is to me because 1, he lied to me about where the name came from, 2, I don't want to look at my daughter every day and remember that she's named after my husband's ex-girlfriend, and 3, it makes me feel like he still loves her. As far as I know, they are not in contact and haven't been since they broke up. He told me that I was overreacting, acting like a child, and that I can't change my mind now since I'm due in 5 weeks. I feel hurt and betrayed. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to name my daughter after my husband's ex-girlfriend? In the comments, not the a-hole. If he thought that it wouldn't be an issue that it was his ex-girlfriend's name, he wouldn't have lied about it, plain and simple. He deceived you into agreeing to the name. He continued to lie when you confronted him, and now he's trying to force you to keep the name with ridiculous logic. You can't change your mind 5 weeks before giving birth? What kind of BS is that? Even if you would have been okay with the name originally had he been honest, now it's tainted by the fact that he lied to you about it. Is he usually like this? OP says, I would normally say he's not usually like this at all, but now that I'm thinking about it, he has been acting weird for the past few months and has been kind of distant. I have no idea what to do at this point. I feel completely clueless and lost. Sounds like a situation for couples counseling to me. OP says, I'll mention that to him. He's always been against any kind of counseling though, so I doubt that conversation will go well. But thank you for your comments. They're appreciated a lot. You understand the alternative as saying, oh well, let's just forget this forever then. Agree to disagree though, right? Check if it's the hill that you need to die on. I definitely won't forget that this happened, and I think that it's important that we do attend some kind of counseling. I'm just not sure how I can get him to go, and I'm due in 5 weeks, or she could come earlier, and with the quarantine, I'm not even sure when we could go to counseling, but I don't want to put this off either. I feel way too betrayed just to let this go. OP, I know how easy it is to make excuses. You're pregnant, exhausted, you want to be happy about your new baby. There are plenty of reasons to push this aside and put it off, but you have to make a firm stand and show your husband you won't be pushed around. As vulnerable as you are now, you are going to be 100% more vulnerable once you actually have a baby to take care of. I know it's hard, but it's important to show him that you mean business. Thank you so much for this comment. It's true that part of me just wants to move on and forget about it, especially since people are bringing up good points about the fact that he may be in contact with her, because I'm only weeks away from giving birth to our baby, and this isn't how I planned it to go at all. But your comment made me realize how much I absolutely can't push this aside. I used the last few hours to just relax, but I'll be talking to him again shortly. I appreciate your comment. Thank you. Not the a-hole. He's definitely still got some type of feelings for her. I would see a couples therapist if I was y'all. Please change the name and don't enable him/whatever he is holding on to. That's what I'm worried about. I've never been insecure about his old relationships, but finding out that he tried to name our daughter after his ex-girlfriend made me feel so small and insignificant. I'll mention couples therapy, but he's always been against any kind of counseling, so I doubt that conversation will go well. Hey OP, just an FYI, my parents changed their mind about my name a couple of weeks after I was born, and I'm a perfectly well-adjusted person, but for my addiction to this site. So please don't let him guilt you into anything citing time as the reason, not the a-hole. OP says, thank you for your comment. It's very reassuring. I was feeling guilty about wanting to change the name so close to the birth because he keeps making comments about the time frame, but your comment made me feel better, so thank you. Back up to the post, we have an edit. After I finally got him to admit the truth, I asked him why he wanted to use that name in the first place, and he told me because he thought that it was pretty and that his ex-girlfriend was such a good person that he wanted to name our daughter after her, but thought that I wouldn't agree to it, which I don't. So he told me that he heard it from a movie instead of just being honest. Edit 2, I just wanted to thank everyone so much for the support. Reading through your comments has really helped me realize that I'm not going to be manipulated into naming my daughter anything but what feels right to me. My husband slept over at his parents' guest house last night. Because the quarantine. He didn't go near his parents, don't worry, because I felt like I needed some time away from him. I'm going to talk to him when he gets home today though. I'll update everyone once we've had a chance to talk and let you all know what ends up happening. In the meantime, I posted on Name Nerds to get some ideas for new names. I'm really excited to look into names, so if you'd like to suggest any new names, you can find my post on my profile. I would love any and all suggestions. And now, on to the update. A lot of people have mentioned that he might be cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend, or he still has feelings for her. I thought about it a lot, and based on how he's been acting these past few months, they might have a point. So, when my husband got back from spending the night at his parents' guest house, he had no contact with his parents. I demanded that we have a serious talk. It was pointless at first. I basically just kept repeating the same thing over and over again as he refused to comment on anything that I said. Finally, I asked him if he was cheating on me. He immediately denied it, but I didn't believe him. I continued to pester him about it, and he finally admitted that he has been texting his ex-girlfriend for a little bit, but that's it. Again, there was no way that I was going to believe him. I asked him how long they've been in contact. He told me not long, but I wanted a real answer, so I asked him again. He told me for a few months. Basically, from what he told me, he was in contact with her for a few days before we found out it was a girl, and that's why he suggested the name Tiffany to me. We found out that it was a girl at 22 weeks, and I'm now 35 weeks pregnant, so he's been talking to her for about 13 weeks behind my back. I basically just cried and kept asking him questions to get as much information about it as I could. He kept trying to avoid each question, but I finally got answers out of him. He told me that she contacted him because she was getting married and was having second thoughts. My husband admitted to me that talking to her made him realize that he never stopped having feelings for her, but that he loves me too. And the reason he suggested the name Tiffany to me was because he knew that he couldn't leave me to be with her, so he wanted something to honor her with. Which doesn't make sense because it sounds like she's freaking dead when she isn't. I made him show me the messages, and they were flirty with hearts and winks, but nothing was sexual. From what he told me, his ex went through with getting married, and they both knew they couldn't be together again, but they enjoyed talking with each other. We both ended up crying, and he kept begging me not to leave him, but it's wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what to do. I'm lost, completely. I tried to get him to leave for a few days and go back to his parents' guest house, but he refused. Now I'm sleeping in the guest bedroom, which only has a twin bed, because he's refusing to sleep anywhere but the master bedroom because he wants to go back to normal. I feel like my entire world has collapsed, and I know people will tell me to leave him or divorce him, but I'm 5 weeks away from giving birth to our daughter, and with the pandemic happening, I don't know what to do. I need help. The stress and emotional pain is making my stomach and back ache, and I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel so hurt and confused and betrayed. What should I do? Please help. I apologize if this post is all over the place. I'm just way too upset to actually care. If I left out important information or if you have any questions, I'll answer anything. I just need advice and guidance. In the comments, this guy is only going to say what you want to hear, and what's worse, he's trying to manipulate you into accepting that his behavior is normal along the way. It seems like he's going to jump at the first opportunity, but he's too much of a coward to do anything that doesn't feel safe. And that included not staying with you when another relationship started to look possible again. You became the unsafe option at that time, and then it seems he realized that he would actually need to put in effort with this other person too. And it sounds like the other woman was ultimately the one who decided to go through with her marriage. The way you describe him telling you about this, it wasn't something that he realized was wrong for himself. What if she hadn't gone through with her wedding? Have you thought about where you might be right now? Do you really want to be with something like that for the rest of your life? Just waiting for the other shoe to drop, wondering if he'll get brave enough to abandon you, or if he'll always be too much of a coward to leave. He's already thinking about other options, even ones that he's dismissed in the past, that aren't even available. A new woman would probably be even more entertaining to him. In the meantime, he wants to name your daughter after the one who got away. You really don't need to know any more information now. You know enough that you would be acting within your rights and well within the realms of logic and common sense, and you would be making the responsible decision to begin the process of separating from this person. I am so sorry that you needed to find all this out in such a troubling way. If he couldn't make better decisions, not only for you, but not even for his unborn daughter right now, which is a huge milestone, then there's really very little hope that a situation will ever arise where he'll finally come to his senses. It's genuinely incredible how not uncommon it seems that men want to name their daughters after affair partners and previous relationships. I wonder what the thought process is behind that, because I simply cannot imagine the audacity that I would need to even suggest such a thing. My ex's mums had a sister named after their dad's affair partner. He wanted to prove his love to his mistress, so he named his daughter with his wife after her. That was the explanation he gave. Mistress loved having that over the wife, according to my ex's mum. Well, of course I'm 100% committed to you. I just really need a constant reminder of what could have been. Stop overreacting. ETA, this post ties in thematically with the recent post about the woman whose boyfriend demanded a paternity test and then couldn't understand why their relationship isn't stronger than ever. If you pretend long enough, the relationship will just fix itself, right? Could you imagine if your stepmom/person your dad left your mum for had the same name as you because you were named after them? What was the dad thinking? I actually still have feelings for this person, so I will name my kid after them. OP's husband be like, I named you after the prettiest, kindest, most wonderful person I know. And the kid's like, Mommy's not the prettiest, kindest, and most wonderful person you know? And OP's husband's like, Mommy's special in her own way. Gross! That's what Adam Levine was going to do with the child that he had with his wife. He suggested naming it after the girl that he was cheating with. Our next post is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking to be paid for 6 months of constant dog sitting? My sister Alice owns a flat with her husband and they have 2 dogs. Alice got a job abroad, so they're moving there. They don't know what to do with the 2 dogs yet, so their current plan is to move abroad and wait a few months, up to 6, to decide if they even like it there or if they want to come back home. If they like it there, they will try to find a way to move the dogs there with them, but if it's not possible, they will rehome them in our country. I'm 21 years old, still attending university, and I live with my mum. I really want to move out and live alone, but I can't afford it. Alice made me an offer. I can live in their flat for free for 6 months, no rent, no utilities, but I have to take care of their dogs. I'll have to walk them for hours every day, take them to the vet, etc. She said they will pay for anything dog-related and will pay for doggy daycare for a few days during my exam periods or if I want to go on a vacation. I like her offer. Her flat is much closer to my university, but taking care of 2 dogs is a lot of work. I think it's reasonable to want to be paid for the work I do. If I didn't have to take care of the dogs, I could get a part-time job if I wanted to. So I feel like I should be reimbursed for that. Alice and our mum says that being allowed to live in her flat for free is already enough, and I'm being unreasonable and money hungry. When they told me this, I laughed at them and told my sister she could try to find another dog sitter then, and I know that I'm her best option. Now they're mad at me. Am I the a-hole? In the comments, you're the a-hole. You will live rent-free and utilities-free, alone in a flat closer to your uni. Try Googling how much you'd have to cough up in cash to do the same, and bam, that's how much you are paid for dog sitting. With current economy situation, I imagine that some won't come up low. Definitely you're the a-hole here for a complete lack of self-awareness. You can't have your cake and then expect your sister to pay you to look after the dogs in exchange for that. If you don't want to look after the dogs, get your own flat, pay for it, and deal with the stress of struggling to have a roof over your head versus taking dogs to walk twice a day for 15 to 20 minutes. Plus, working on top of doing her studies? Spoiled wants it all. Free lodging, no expenses, and money to burn. You're the a-hole, big time. Let your sister know that I'm available, though. OP's going to be pissed when they actually do find someone else to watch the dogs, saying, "You promised I could live in your apartment. I need to be nearest school." And if the person watching the dogs doesn't live there, no one's living there. I don't see why I can't use your apartment. There is a massive tantrum pending. You do realize how much rent for even a basic apartment costs, right? Plus water, electricity, and internet bills. And on top of that, there will be no personal costs for the dogs. That is way more money in bills than you would be getting paid in dog sitting money anyways, even if she did for some reason agree. And you really wanted to move out, right? Well, unfortunately, now you are not getting that option because she is going to get another sitter now that you have shown yourself off to be ungrateful of an offer most wouldn't give, and kind of an idiot for burning such a good offer. Plenty of people would kill for 6 months of free living with the only cost of spending time taking care of dogs. You are very much replaceable there. You're the a-hole. Honestly, can't decide if OP is entitled or clueless. I guess have fun finding that part-time job and paying rent and utilities at a different place. What's crazy about OP's logic is they probably still have time to get a part-time job and take care of the dogs. Unless these dogs are puppies, the dogs should be trained enough to leave for a few hours a couple nights a week to go to work. I'm not saying OP can work a 40 hours a week job, go to school and care for the puppies, but he could pick up 15 hours a week somewhere, and then that's just spending money since the sister is covering all the bills. And now, onto the update. Okay, I screwed up. I really thought Alice didn't have any other options. My brother just told me that she is now talking to our cousin, who lives 2 hours away but wants to move to our city. They are even talking about possibly making it a long-term thing, and cousin being allowed to stay after the free 6 months is up for reduced rent, only having to pay an equal amount to their mortgage, which would normally only rent him a room. In the comments, so OP admits it's not that they are dumb and legitimately thought the deal was unfair. OP was being greedy and selfish, assuming the sister had no other options, so OP could extort her. I'm glad sister immediately found another option. I've had something similar happen to me, and it's so satisfying showing somebody how easy it is to get a better offer. And that's the end of the episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.